A man in North Carolina generated up to 10,000 AI songs a month, slapped fake band names on them, and built over 1,000 bot accounts to stream those songs billions of times, spreading the fake plays so thin across so many tracks that no single one ever looked suspicious. He collected more than $8 million real dollars doing it. The trick worked on royalty algorithms and bot detection systems, sure. A real person, actually listening, would have caught it in a second. That's the story everyone tells themselves about this stuff. So here's what I actually want to know. Not, can a royalty algorithm get fooled? Of course it can. That's basically what algorithms are for, tricking a dumb, rule-based system into missing the pattern. The question is whether an actual human being, sitting down and paying attention, would catch it. Because the same bet, flood the zone with volume where nothing is checking closely, is playing out right now on the self-published shelves of Amazon, across the open commercial web, and inside entire fake local news networks. If human attention doesn't reliably catch it either, this stops being a bot problem. It becomes a who's actually protecting you problem, and the honest answer might be nobody. Algorithms getting fooled makes sense. They're rule-based systems, built to catch one bad actor per file. Spread that fraud across 100,000 files, and the math just doesn't trip, because no single file ever crosses the threshold that would flag it. But a person, reading an actual book, landing on an actual news site, with actual judgment, surely they'd notice. I pulled up a handful of self-published book listings and a couple of local news sites cold, no context, and tried to spot the fakes. Mostly I could. Generic cover copy, an about page that doesn't actually exist, a byline photo just a little too symmetrical to be a real face, the kind that looks like it was generated to be inoffensive rather than to belong to anyone in particular. You've probably done this yourself without realizing it. Scrolled past a listing and just felt something was off. And the pile this is happening in has gotten genuinely enormous. Books flagged as mostly AI written now make up a fifth of the self-published fiction catalog on Amazon, but only about a tenth of the revenue. The number of books getting any sales at all nearly 20x'd in that same window. Revenue only grew 9x. And out on the open web, Pew Research found that on pages published since ChatGPT launched, more than a third show clear signs of AI writing, concentrated almost entirely on the commercial web. 10 times rarer on sites ending in .edu or .gov, where nobody's chasing ad clicks. That's not some fringe corner of the internet. That's where you're already reading, right now, this week. So, I caught the obvious fakes. Case closed, right? Except I picked those samples myself, already knowing exactly what I was hunting for. That's not the same test as somebody scrolling their phone at 11 at night, half paying attention, with zero warning that any of it is fake at all. Turns out, somebody already ran that exact experiment properly. Handed people the tells in advance, on purpose, no games. And the results are not what I expected. Actually, not close. Researchers affiliated with Yale gave people a short tip sheet before they picked which of 2 local news sites to read. Check the byline, check the about page, look for the real credibility markers. And it worked. Sort of. People who got the tip sheet named those exact cues almost 3 times as often when explaining their choice afterward. But here's the part that stopped me. When it came to which site people actually picked, the AI-generated one still got chosen 41% of the time with the tip sheet in hand, versus 46% without it. A 5-point gap. The researchers themselves called that basically a coin flip. Handing someone the answer key and watching them fail the test at nearly the same rate is not a great sign for just teach people to look closer. Because what actually drove the choice wasn't credibility at all. It was whether people already agreed with the site's slant. Knowing the tells and acting on the tells turned out to be 2 completely different skills, and nobody had told the researchers that going in. I ran the same test on myself, honestly. Laid 2 write-ups of the same story side by side. One sourced and bylined, one AI flat and generic. And the one I was drawn to wasn't the better sourced one. It was the one whose take I already agreed with. The tell was sitting right there in plain sight. I reached past it anyway. If you've ever caught yourself trusting the version that just happened to agree with you, congratulations. You've already run this experiment on yourself, for free. And it's not just newsreaders getting picked off. You don't have to look far to see who's actually eating the cost. It's freelance writers, whose job postings on one major platform dropped 21% in the 8 months after ChatGPT launched, and the jobs that survived paid more, not less. Designers took the same hit. Postings for image-generating work fell 17% in that same stretch. It's musicians splitting a finite royalty pool with a guy running 1,000 bot accounts. It's real local reporters watching a 200-site fake newsroom eat their ad money before anyone official even noticed. Which means fixing this by asking readers to pay closer attention is aiming squarely at the exact thing the Yale study just showed doesn't move. So if attention isn't the lever, something else has to be. So what actually took the fake operations down? Not a sharper-eyed reader. It was somebody with a real stake, checking, and something real on the line if they got it wrong. Take that 200-site fake local news network. Internally, the company pitched it as the complete reinvention of how humanity stays informed, built on zero humans, zero legacy, and infinite AI scale. It didn't fold because a casual reader got suspicious of a byline. It folded because actual working journalists, with actual local knowledge, dug into specific claims, ran them down, and found the sites had been running scraped quotes as if they were original interviews with people who'd never spoken to anyone. Within months, the whole network suspended operations, calling it, and I promise I'm not making this up, a completed experiment. Or take the romance novelist who published more than 200 books in a year under 21 different pen names, using AI to generate a full novel in about 45 minutes. It worked commercially precisely because it stayed hidden. The moment the AI use went public, 6 figures in sales turned into a wave of backlash overnight. Here's the logic underneath both of those stories. Once producing polished, professional-looking output is nearly free, polish stops proving anything about competence or effort. Anyone can afford to look good now, which means looking good stopped meaning anything. What's left as an actual signal is a promise somebody can be held to, a byline a journalist will defend with their own name attached, a claim an editor checked because their job depends on it being right. Faking that still costs something if you're wrong. Faking volume never did, which is exactly why everyone doing this at scale chose volume. I went back to those same book listings from earlier. This time, I wasn't asking, does this read as AI? I was asking, is there a person here who'd answer for this if I emailed them? Half the obviously fine ones failed that test immediately. So stop running the "does this feel credible" gut check. That instinct is precisely the thing being gamed. And we just watched a tip sheet naming the exact tells fail to meaningfully override it. Not because people are careless, but because credibility was never actually what was driving the choice. The question that actually works is narrower and a little less flattering to your instincts. Is there someone specific on the other end of this who has something real to lose if it's wrong? If I were you, the move isn't to get better at spotting AI writing. Nobody's getting better at that fast enough to matter. The move is to stop asking, does this look real? And start asking, who's accountable if it isn't? A byline you could actually email, a reviewer with their name on it, a warranty somebody has to honor, a return policy that isn't for show. The AI course sellers are counting on you skipping that step entirely. The whole business is an upsell funnel wrapped around a credential nobody ever checked. Here's the one thing worth doing differently. Before you trust a review, a course, an agency, a news site, go looking for the one specific person who'd actually answer for it by name. If nobody would, that's the whole answer already. You don't need to read any further to get it. Remember the guy with the 1,000 bot accounts? His scheme didn't get caught by a listener noticing his songs were fake. Nobody was listening. That was the entire point. It got caught when somebody finally checked where the money went. Although the songs and listeners were fake, the prosecutor said, the millions of dollars Smith stole was real. That's the whole trick. Everywhere it shows up. Fake the volume, fake the audience, and count on nobody checking what's real underneath it. That's the memo. Read.